he's a top flight executive, and hopefully going to the Atlanta Hall of Fame, which is tremendous, will just be a lead into the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown.
Wherever you go around America, because of the Superstation, people know the Braves, and there's an image of the Braves throughout the world, and it's one of competence, integrity, professionalism, and success, and that all started with John. So, thanks.
It's always nice to get a thank you from the great Stan Kasten, as we are joined by the newest member of the Braves Hall of Fame, John Schuerholz. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a wonderful honor. I thought I was be ready for it, but to see the quality of the people who are already in our Hall of Fame there today, and the guests who came to talk about our relationship, theirs and mine, was just absolutely mind-boggling and really, really wonderful.
I thought it was very complimentary to you, John, for those guys who are busy in their own right with their own teams to take time to come over and salute you. I thought it was great.
Well, I agree. I mean, these are all busy men and accomplished men, and I can say friends of mine, and it was just a wonderful experience for me, and I couldn't be happier.
So let's go back. I love going backwards in time when you have a moment like this. Let's go back in time to the fall of 1990. I'm sure you could never have envisioned being inducted into the Atlanta Braves Hall of Fame when you had to be convinced, I guess, to take the general manager's job for the Braves. Joe was talking about that great story with you and Stan Kasten. For those who couldn't attend today, could you please tell that story again?
Well, circumstances began to change in Kansas City, where I had been for 23 years. And ownership, our Kaufman, Mr. Kaufman, our beloved owner, was battling some health problems and looking for a new ownership to come in with him in partnership. And to shorten the story, the internal circumstances got a little unsettled. And I never thought I'd feel that way. I loved living in Kansas City. It was a wonderful place to live and grow a family and all that. And then Stan and I were on a committee, and he started talking about Bobby. He's going to keep Bobby in the dugout the next year, and you have a lot of young friends who are general managers, and you know the sharp guys, and let me know somebody who you would recommend for us. And I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it and internalized and said, you know what, that may be something I want to do. So one of these days later on in another committee meeting, I mentioned to Stan that I think I would be interested. He said, well, get the correct permission to talk, and I'll talk to you. So I did, and we talked, and then he offered me the job, which really messed me up because I didn't know if he would do that. And I love Kansas City so much, I had to really, I accepted, and then I didn't, and I turned it back. And finally, the night before he was about ready to assign it to someone else or offer it to someone else, I called him and said, Stan, I'm ready to take that job if it's still available. And it was it was the best decision I ever made in my life to come to Atlanta.
Ben Revere, the batter, and a breaking ball from Julio has him behind him.
And again, for those that weren't there today, the best decision you ever made other than agreeing after Karen asked you to marry.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, I cleared that with Karen after I got home this afternoon too. She said, "What was the best decision?" It was the best baseball decision I ever made in my life.
Well, you said
clarify it that way.
You don't want to make the general manager mad, which
no. She was the general manager of our household.
And so obviously you come here in 1991. You knew what the Braves had in the farm system, and you've been credited with really changing the entire culture here, not just what you see on the field, but the culture behind the scenes that fans sometimes don't see as well. How challenging a process was that for you in the early days?
You know, it was not very challenging for me because I grew up in organizations. I grew up in organizations that demanded that of people and expected of people more than demanded it. And I brought it here with me to Atlanta from Kansas City, and it wasn't difficult. There were very few people who were unwilling or unable to step up to the level of professionalism and feeling good about yourself and proud about yourself as a person in an organization. And we got it done. It was fairly easy. People say, "No, let's go. This is the way we want to be. We want to be proud. We want to be winners. We want to get the job done. We want to continue to do that." And everybody joined in.
So in your mindset, was this then a sleeping giant, I guess, that had just needed to be prodded awake?
Well, it was a sleeping giant because of the work.
Look at the deke. Turner couldn't find the baseball, and he just got back. There were not one, not two, but three different players trying to fake out Trey Turner, and he didn't know whether to stand at second or wind his watch, and the Braves almost doubled him off.
I may be prejudiced, but I think this would be a perfect time for instant replay review.
The throw to first was bang bang, and Freeman with the stretch. And the Braves are taking a look at that. Buddy Carlisle in the Braves locker room will say, yeah, to Brian Snitker, you might want to take a look at this, and that's the universal signal for replay review. But what heads-up play by the Braves middle infielders and Ender Inciarte.
He had no idea where the ball was.
Who, as we know, is the deke master in the outfield.
So the Braves are going to challenge the play at first base, thinking they doubled off Trey Turner.
If this is successful, it may be the only way to keep Trey Turner off the bases. Look at Ender.
And he's looking right at Trey Turner, who is standing at second base, not knowing what to do. Let's see from this angle.
Got him.
I think he's out.
I mean, it's the same as if it's a thrown ball from the infield. That ball's got to be in the pocket of the glove of the first baseman.
What an unbelievable play by Ender Inciarte and the Braves middle infielders to have Trey Turner just twisting in the wind between first and second base. And if we're right, that'll be a double play and the bases will be clear. Well, you mentioned instant replay. I know that you are intimately involved with that process. How do you think instant replay has manifested itself? In this case, I know you like it a lot.
I'm also a member of the competition committee, and we talked about it just the last 2 days down in Houston. And what we said, the committee, not only the instant replay committee, which I was chairman of, but the competition committee, it's doing its job. We're getting more plays right. We're getting more calls right. There are some that are aggravating in the length of review and all of that. But principally, what the purpose was to get the calls right. And the second sentence I wrote was to keep the flow and the rhythm of the game unaffected. We haven't done that necessarily as well as we wanted, but we're getting more calls right. And the umpires and the teams like what's going on with it. But we need to fix some of that. We need to tighten up the segment when the manager decides he's going to challenge a play, and the communication between the inside office of each club and the manager to decide whether he's going to challenge or not.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed.
We need to do that, and everybody agrees with that.
Good. So a great challenge by the Braves. Good camera angles showed that Turner was indeed out. And the great deke by the Atlanta defense as Tehran with 2 outs and Bryce Harper in the batter's box. Visiting with John Schuerholz, inducted today with Andrew Jones into the Braves Hall of Fame. Trying to keep John for another half inning if Harper obliges and makes the 3rd out. As the Braves shift for him on the right side, and he takes a strike. Can you believe, John, 21 games left in this ballpark? Doesn't seem possible, does it?
No, it really doesn't. We've had, such a wonderful experience here, and as we did across the street in Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, and put a lot of wins up on the board and had a lot of fans. We had 3.5 million, 3.8 million fans sit in our ballparks and cheer for this team and help drive us to championships and support us so well, and walk around town with their T-shirts and hats and with Braves pride, and that was something that we were delighted to do and sustain, and it's our commitment now to regain that and do that again and get this community involved in baseball with that same spirit as we had before.
Harper with a vicious swing, fouls it back and stays alive.
Pretty good player right there, Bryce Harper. Not bad for his age, huh?
Bryce is not bad for any age. He'd be bad for twice his age, or good for twice his age. I mean, this kid's a really talented guy, and he was deemed to be a baseball player. He and his father had this plan, this master plan, and he had the ability and the tenacity and the work ethic and the aptitude to become that, and he's a remarkable young player.
Fly ball towards center field, and Julio Tehran's defense did a marvelous job to fake out Trey Turner and the Nationals in the 3rd. John, would you stick around for one more half inning?
Absolutely.
Plenty more ground to cover with the newest Braves Hall of Famer, John Schuerholz, 1-0 Washington.